Good Sunday morning and welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. I'm Paul Listic. This week in Springfield, Governor J.B. Pritzker will unveil his budget plans to state lawmakers. Uncertainty about federal funding remains high, a fiscal cliff for transit agencies looms ahead, and a projected $3.2 billion deficit, just some of the items on that growing list of concerns. Here's what the governor said earlier this month.
We should be living within our means and doing everything we can to do that. I've also said in previous press conferences, and still believe, that taxes should not be the first but rather the last thing that we look at.
A new report is urging Governor Pritzker and lawmakers to seriously consider boosting revenue by expanding the existing sales tax to new services. Joining me this morning, Civic Federation President Joe Ferguson. Joe, thanks for joining me again, and lots to ask you about. Let me begin with this shortfall coming up. One key reason this is happening is that the Civic Federation says that COVID funds dried up. More recent hits in the cuts in terms of federal funding overall are both happening and being threatened. The suggestion from the Civic Federation really focuses in on cost cutting and not tax raising. How does that work in this time of uncertainty?
It's a challenge because no matter what's done here, and good morning, Paul, thanks for having me. Whatever is done here is going to be done in a very fluid, volatile environment in which the state may find itself having its best laid plans for fiscal 2026, having large holes blown into it by what's happening in Washington, which varies by day, but what is being threatened right now and hovering actually is significant in the order of multiple billions of dollars as it may affect Illinois. So in the first instance, we've got to look internally. That's just best fiscal practice, and figure out where we can cinch our belts, but also figure out where we have pools of money that exist in the budget already, or that exist in our operations already, and consider about how to put them to better and higher uses. I'll give you one example.
Well, actually, Joe, I'm going to walk through that with you, but I just want to kind of work towards getting there, because I want to point out the fact that the governor, of course, has long touted all the numerous credit upgrades that we've gotten under his tenure, and clearly that's not enough. I'm sort of curious, is this indicative of a problem that's been going on for decades, and can we ever actually dig out of this?
The answer is yes, it's been going on for decades. The magnitude is a reflection of the fact that it has gone on for decades. And so in one respect, we said this last year, the governor deserves credit for actually utilizing COVID-era money to attend to some real structural ills that he inherited, both from the prior administration and from longer-term past practices. I'll give you just one quick example. The governor inherited $16 billion in past due bills that were sitting there when he took office because bills weren't being paid, because we went a couple of years without having budgets the way that we ought to have had them. That has been reduced to a payment schedule that is reliable and within best practice. There are a few things where we had to sort of extend some of that debt, but that number is down to something that is ordinary. The governor deserves credit for that and a number of other things, including pensions.
And Joe, let me talk about this extension of a sales tax to services. Right now, the 5% sales tax, Civic Federation says maybe we lower that rate, but we need to extend it. You know, that's often been a third rail for Springfield, because are we talking about, or are you talking about, things like legal services, or are we talking about haircuts and nails and plumbers and dry cleaning? What's the intent?
So we're not advocating for it. What we are saying is that is a key area that has never been attended to, that has to be part of a larger restructuring of our overall tax structure, which is incredibly burdensome and is laid out in the budget report and a related economic analysis report that we issued last week. We're lagging economically relative to the neighboring states and our peers, and we have among the highest tax burdens in the state. One of the reasons for that is our tax structure is not aligned with our economy. We have a predominantly service economy now. That's something that exists across the country, and we still tax sales as if we are largely a goods delivering economy, and it's like it's 1960. That needs to be recalibrated if we are to do it. And the issue of sales taxes actually didn't arise from us. It arose from the fact that We know we have a fiscal cliff for public transit that needs to be attended to. And the initial conversation was that is a place to go for additional revenue. Well, if we're going to have that conversation, we need to have it in a big way. Your particular question as to who this may impact, there are 176 categories of services typically in this realm of taxation. Illinois taxes 29 of them. On average, across the country, about 62 of them are taxed. Each one of them has a constituency. Each one of those constituencies has an association, and each one of those associations have a lobbyist. And that's why this is hard to do. But what we do know is we're way out of a line. It's a regressive tax as it exists right now. And there is a significant broadening and lowering that can result in significant additional revenue. But that comes after we do the work of trimming the budget and finding resources within our existing operations.
And Joe, less than a minute left. You do talk about the importance in the report of considering a graduated income tax, music to J.B. Pritzker's ears, as opposed to the flat tax we have. But it's been tried before. One has failed. And actually, in this term, Representative Thaddeus Jones says we ought to get rid of the property tax system and just go to income taxes.
So again, the larger point here, Paul, is our entire taxing structure is out of whack. So graduated income tax, we're not advocating for it, but what we are noting is that there are disincentives to business, disincentives to population, drags on the capacity of government to fund the services that everybody is expecting. Sales tax is one area of non-alignment. The fact that we have a flat tax structure is another. Property taxes, which exist at the local level, is another area where we use property taxes for way too much that is way critical to local government. All of these things need to be examined holistically and in relation to each other. We're elevating that fact that we're overdue for the holistic examination.
All right, we're going to hear what the governor says soon, and then let's talk to you again and get your reaction to that. That'll be very interesting. Joe Ferguson, president of the Civic Federation, thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy your Sunday.
Absolutely. You too, Paul.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up next on WGN-TV, Political Report.
This is a historic conviction which ranks high in the annals of criminal cases tried in this courtroom.
Once the most powerful man in Illinois politics, Mike Madigan now finds himself a guilty man. How the split verdict in corruption trial will change State House history. That's coming up next.